gay best friend. He is a cultural phenomenon. A simple Google search will give you results on why every woman needs a gay best friend, a guide to how to find your gay best friend, and videos of men telling you that just because they are gay doesn't mean they want to be your best friend. But why is it that we qualify the best friend as gay? Is it that we're at a point in society where we have so many best friends that each one needs to be categorized? Do we have a white best friend, a redheaded best friend, a Muslim best friend? Or is a person's sexuality the key component to their friendship? Are we only best friends because we're gay? So this phenomenon, in which we include irrelevant identities when we describe someone, goes beyond the gay best friend. We see this a lot. We see this with people's sexuality, religious beliefs, their gender, and it really doesn't serve much purpose in the conversation because it actually has an impact that goes beyond this. So the impact is twofold. First and foremost, when we include these irrelevant identities, we take the complexity of a person and reduce them to a box you could check on a piece of paperwork. White, male, heterosexual, homosexual. You're not recognizing that a person is made up of a lot of different things. And this actually reflects more upon the values that we see in the person than they see in themselves. So when you go around and introduce your gay best friend, that's the identity that we see as most pivotal in that person's life. That is the biggest influence in their actions, in their behaviors, in their words, in their thoughts. They're not the gay best friend, they're gay. So the thing about identity is that they're identities that we were born with, your gender, your sexuality, your ethnicity, and there are identities that we choose to adopt for ourselves. You like to play video games, you go to the movies, you read books, you study chemistry. But regardless of the identity we have, we choose how often we express that identity. So even if you're male, you don't have to be constantly expressing the idea that you are a male. When we then include these identities and descriptions without them being relevant to the conversation, we're saying that that's the identity that's most important. Which, this doesn't allow the person to choose which identities they express for themselves, and really kind of limits them as who they are as a person. The second impact is that identities are used as an explanation, a connection as to who someone is and why they behave the way they do. So if I tell you that my gay best friend agrees with neoliberal political policies, the implication is that because he is gay, he agrees with these neoliberal political policies. This isn't considering other aspects of his life that may have influenced that, including his education, a mentor, a personal experience. Because he's gay, he agrees with neoliberal political policies. This is then used to reinforce systems of stereotype and inequality. So over the summer, I was walking around, and I had someone try to steal my cell phone. And I ended up getting it back, luckily. But when I tell friends the story, I don't relay any information other than a kid tried to steal my cell phone. Because if I told you his ethnicity, where he's from, his religious beliefs, it would be implying that because of those things, he tried to steal my cell phone. This isn't considering the multitude of factors in his life and who he is as a person. This isn't considering any of that, in fact. It's reducing that these common factors I see in him are what led to his behavior and actions on that day. So this rewards those in privilege and reinforces stereotypes for those who are not. So you take the kid in your class who's really good at biology and happens to be Korean, and he becomes every smart Asian you know. You take the person with tattoos that committed a crime, and they become every thug and gang member you know. Social psychology kind of explains this idea through the idea of in-group favoritism, in which you reward and show preference to those you see as a part of your in-group, and separate those you see as a member of your out-group. So we take these differences we see in people, and we place them and make them a part of our out-group. So my Muslim friend, who happens to study French with me, isn't in my in-group because she's Muslim. Even though we both study French, this commonality is not strong enough or big enough to show that we have difference in religious beliefs. She is Muslim, and therefore she's not in my in-group. But if me and my gay best friend go shopping, I'm showing that this commonality is big enough that even though there's a difference in sexuality, our love of shopping is bigger than that. So I'm including him in my in-group despite this difference. There are times when you can include an identity. I think there are times when it's really relevant. If you're discussing cultures that have more conservative dress attire, someone's religious beliefs can be a really important factor as to why that person dresses the way they do, or the experience that led them to have the beliefs and opinions on it that they do have. If you can see that there is relevancy to it, include the identity, because it can add to the conversation. But if it doesn't, it shouldn't be there. So the call to question is, why do we as a society always include identities when they don't really serve a relevant purpose? Think about the purpose of an identity and what it adds to the conversation the next time we introduce our gay best friend. Thank you for your time. Do I just go?